welcome back to the Royal Daily Tea. I hope everyone had a lovely Halloween. I sat at home with little Romeo. We snuggled on the couch and watched movies, and it was absolutely fabulous. We did have some royals that were out and about with their children. We have Princess Madeline with her husband Chris, who live in Florida. They shared a lovely Halloween photograph with them and their 3 children. What I love about Princess Madeline is she's a part-time royal. You know, she does go to Sweden back and forth for some royal duties, but most of the time she lives like a normal person in Florida with her husband and doesn't make a big to-do about it. Maybe, Harry, you can take some notes. So here she is posing with her 3 children. Princess Lenore, Prince Nicholas, and Princess Adrian. Madeline and Chris are dressed as hippies, while Lenore, who is 8, is dressed as a witch. Their 7-year-old son, Nicholas, is dressed as the Maverick character from Top Gun, and their youngest, 4-year-old Adrian, is dressed as a unicorn. Now, Princess Charlene of Monaco also shared a picture of her twins, Jacques and Gabriella. Gabriella is dressed in a pumpkin outfit and her son is a vampire. I absolutely love the fact that they shared their Halloween costumes with their children with us. Now, I would have loved to have seen the Wellses' children, but it does appear they celebrate Halloween and their holidays privately. It is rumored, however, they might have went to visit the Middletons, as the Middletons have that party favor company, and they do live really close to their new home in Windsor. So it looks like some of the royals really did have a fun and enjoyable Halloween, but we have a lot of juicy royalty to get through. So sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get into the Royal Daily Tea. So Meghan Markle has dropped the latest episode from her Archetype podcast. This one was entitled Good Wife, Bad Wife, Good Mom, Bad Mom, with Sophie Trudeau, Pamela Adlon, and Sam Jay. Now, I did find this a little interesting, and quite a few things actually made me chuckle. You know, Megsy, you always tell on yourself because you contradict yourself constantly, but the most hilarious part is how she always has to have these little nicknames for people like Soph and Glow and H for Harry and Glow for Gloria Steinem. So she refers to Sophie Trudeau, who happens to be the First Lady of Canada, as Soph. You know, me and Soph, we go way back, just hanging out by the pool, just 2 average cool moms and our kids and our messed up hairs on our little pizza floaties. We're just so fabulous, talking about life and how hard mothership is. Now, mothership, being a mom, I'm sure, is one of the hardest jobs on the planet. But from 2 rich and overprivileged women who have a lot of help, it's kind of laughable. Most women don't have a staff of servants that Sophie and Meghan have and then complain, oh my God, I'm so exhausted, and ring for the bell for the nanny to come take the kids away. It's hilarious. So Meghan talks about how she really loves to cook breakfast for the children and Harry in the morning before they go to school. And she talks about having the 2 monitors out, you know, watching for the kids, getting up her daughter, then getting Archie, and feeding the 3 dogs while Harry takes the kids to school, and she's just exhausted. Well, I'm sorry, Meghan, but that's called a normal day for everyone else, and they probably do 100 more things on top of that, like cleaning their entire house and grocery shopping and cooking, and then going to a full-time job and coming home and cooking dinner, and then doing the dishes and scrubbing the toilets, something I don't think you do. So Meghan always forgets how privileged she is in listening to her talk about how motherhood is so exhausting because you put a bowl of cereal out in the morning and you put some water and food in the dog bowl. That's exhausting. Sweetheart, you wouldn't last a day in my life, okay? Like, if that's exhausting to you, I mean, do you even know where all 16 of your bathrooms are? Have you used all 16 of your bathrooms, or are they simply the rooms where your staff goes and cries? I don't know, but it's just laughable to me how she talks about how difficult being a mother is. Now, the main topic of this podcast was supposed to be about the societal pressures that people put upon women to be perfect. The perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect person, that type of thing. And yes, we all feel that societal pressure, but I don't feel in 2022 it's still there. I think people realize that moms have off moments, moms need space, moms needs breaks. Most people have a 2-income household, and being a stay-at-home mom is a luxury that 90% of the people out there don't have and probably would like to have. So the fact that you choose to make breakfast because you, quote, like it, good for you, Meghan. Most people have to because they don't have anyone else to feed their kids. They got to do it themselves. So again, just the 1%-ness of her sometimes is so laughable. And then talking to the First Lady of Canada, another 1%er about how horrible your life is when you have a staff of nannies and cooks. Again, it was kind of laughable to relate to these two women complaining about their horrible lives and how exhausted they are. Now, Meghan's point was saying, I'm not a Stepford wife and I don't fit into the mold of a certain type of partner or certain type of wife or mother. So in my opinion, that was a dig at the royal family and to Catherine, the Princess of Wales, kind of referring to her as, quote, a Stepford wife. We all know that's who she meant. Now, the problem with Meghan is Meghan has this obsession with breaking out of the mold and creating her own path and being her own person, being a feminist, not following the mold or putting into these little boxes and labels and society puts you in. But again, she married into a royal family that had traditions. So that's not exactly saying, okay, you have to fit into this mold. What it's saying is if you marry into this tradition, these are the rules and protocols that every single person, not just you, not just women, have to follow because this is how we do things. She was given a choice. She ignored it, married into it, and then wanted to change it and was upset when she was told no. So then she starts complaining because she was being silenced and she was a prisoner and they stole her passport, y'all, even though she took like 13 trips in a year and a half, but she was a prisoner. Again, this woman always kind of rats herself out with her own words. Now, she has this weird thing about, having my voice. I need to be heard. I need to be seen. But the problem with Meghan is she doesn't have anything to say that's worth listening to. And when Meghan speaks, it is always about herself. It's always about herself. Now, when Catherine speaks, it is for important things, important subjects. Catherine speaks with meaning and she gives voice to people who don't have a voice. Like she most recently spoke on addiction and how people with addiction have an illness and they shouldn't feel embarrassed or ashamed, and we need to stop stigmatizing people who have an addiction. She didn't speak about herself. She spoke about addiction and about a charity that she is working with. Again, when Catherine speaks, it is with meaning and it gives a voice to people who don't have a voice, and people listen. But when Meghan speaks, it's like she gets diarrhea of the mouth, word salad, wokeness, all about herself, and it's like, oh my God, make it stop. Like she forgets why she's giving a speech. When she did that Young World Summit, I think she mentioned herself 22 times in 7 minutes. She makes it about herself because she's obsessed with herself. She's self-deluded, self-importance, and feels like people are silencing her. Well, the reason why they're silencing you, Meghan, is they want you to shut the hell up because you're talking nonsense. Your word salad diarrhea is getting old. Put a plug in it, Only speak if you have something real and important to say. But every time Meghan opens up her mouth, it's her victimhood, and yet another tall tale or inconsistency falls out. So the hilarious thing that Meghan, who's the brainiac, the girl who was accusing people of calling her a bimbo last week on Deal or No Deal, let it slip that she tried to become a British citizen and she found the examination hard and she needed Harry, like he's a genius, to help her pass the exam to be a citizen. I'm sorry, I thought, Meghan, you were the smart one. You were the smart, geeky girl in high school. You were the brainiac whose voice wasn't heard when you were the Deal or No Deal model. But now you can't even pass the exam to become a British citizen, that you had to ask Harry, who's, let's be honest, has an unused muscle between his ears. He didn't have to think growing up, y'all, he was a prince. People did it for him. You know what I mean? So her asking Harry to help her pass the exam? Well, you just told on yourself. I thought you were smart, Meghan. Apparently you weren't that smart. Apparently you failed the exam when you were trying to become an ambassador to work in Buenos Aires. So you don't seem to be that much of a brainiac, in my opinion. But here are some of the interesting quotes and topics that Meghan had to say during her podcast. She says, quote, "So what do we say when we find out what happens when we step outside of the molds that don't fit and we stop buying into this illusion? In this episode, we are digging into the roles that women play as wives, moms, caretakers, and really thinking about how do we break out of the limiting versions that society has carved out for us and settle into the layered, complex, and fullest versions of our own truths. How can we shift the roles that we play, the expectations that we set for ourselves and for each other?" Again, it's all about Meghan finding her truth, having her voice, breaking out of molds, meaning not listening to rules and protocols and procedures, not following tradition. If you're that type of person who needs to be free, she should have never married Harry. Harry warned her about marrying into the institution of the royal family. Why would someone who's such a strong feminist who needs to be heard marry into such an environment? Again, it makes zero sense. We all know the real reason why she married him was for the clout. She needed the fame, she needed the title and the money. She didn't marry the man for love. She married him for everything that she can get. Remember, Meghan is the biggest feminist in the world, yet she gave up her entire career, her country, her friends, her dog, moved over the pond to be with a man. But she's a feminist. If you were a feminist, why did you give up everything that was your identity to become a duchess that's in a, quote, limiting environment where you're now a Stepford wife put into a mold and a box? That makes zero sense. And then you complain the entire time that you're over there. So this clearly proves she had absolutely no intention of staying there as a duchess. This was simply a stepping stone for her. And this is why they're in Hollywood, because she never, ever, ever wanted to be a working royal. She wanted to pick and choose and take the money and the title. Period. This woman was never cut out to be a royal, ever. If you actually look at her and everything she talks about and everything she stands for, it is complete opposite of the royal family. So it makes zero sense why she would marry into this thinking it's going to be a perfect fit. The ultimate feminist who gave up her entire identity for a man. How did that work out for you, Rachel? But the thing that Meghan forgets about being a good wife, a good partner doesn't break up a family, doesn't come in and cause problems for her husband's family. You know, when you marry a person, you marry their family, right? That's kind of a packaged deal. And in my personal opinion, she has destroyed Harry's life. Now, I'm not blaming 100% of everything that has happened upon Meghan, but a good partner doesn't claw on your husband, doesn't push your husband around, doesn't treat him like a rag doll, doesn't humiliate him, doesn't boss him, doesn't move him around. She doesn't seem like she understands what a good partner is, because the example that we see from her is the exact opposite. She's literally ruined her husband's family, his royal life, his reputation, and quite frankly, I would say his happiness. You know, she talks about the good love story and their life is so happy. Well, if Harry's happy, someone forgot to tell his face. because he sure as hell doesn't look happy to me. So again, if you are a partner in a relationship, it is two people coming together, not one person dominating the other. And that little dig that she made about the Stepford wife, she can only wish that she could be 1/10 the woman that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is, because Catherine knows what it is to be a partner and to be a mom and to be a wife, because she exudes that, and they have been happily married for over 11 years. She's been a duchess, now a princess, for 11 years, and she understands that the job and the role and the family that she married into, you can't go into that with a me first attitude. Meghan is a me first person. She doesn't see past herself and her own political and personal agendas, and she has constantly put that above her husband and her husband's family and their traditional role of being a royal. This is why she has caused so much pain and divide in his family, is she is not a good partner. She is not a good wife, and whether or not she's a good mother or now is up for debate. Quite frankly, when you see Meghan and the word mother in the same sentence, they don't really fit together, because we don't ever see her with her children. These children are never seen or heard. So I guess we'll just leave that up for debate. But in my opinion, from what we witnessed, the way she claws and manhandles Harry and the way he reacts with his body language and his facial expressions, again, 80% of communication is non-verbal. He don't look happy to me. A lot of this is just show. If you have to constantly push down people's throats that you're happy and you're in love, and this is a love story, and you're constantly putting on a fake public PDA, it's not real. If you look at Catherine and William, people say, well, they're cold, they're distant, they're not happy. That's bullcrap. You look at a couple who actually mirror each other's hand gestures, their movements, you can see they're very much a unit. They are a foundation. They're very much in sync. They've been together for 20 years. And they've had their ups and downs, but they're still together. And when you see Catherine and William, you see a partnership. You don't see someone fighting or pushing over the other one for attention. It is definite mutual respect and a foundation of we're a couple, we're married, we're parents, we're in this together. When you look at Meghan and Harry, you see Meghan constantly pushing herself forward, and Harry takes a step back. It's like Harry is afraid of Meghan. He's like a timid child afraid of being reprimanded. She has embarrassed and humiliated Harry on so many public occasions. It's cringeworthy to see her when she pushes ahead of him, or she, grabs him, and Harry just looks, oh my God, I'm going to stand here uncomfortably, or I'm going to sit here while my mummy gives a speech and I'm going to pretend to be a good boy so I don't get scolded. It's bizarre. You will never see William and Catherine act that way, ever. Catherine is a good partner and she is a good wife, and she understood the assignment. I'm in this as a partnership, and I am marrying into the royal family, and it's not going to be about me. It's going to be about me representing other people as a charitable, head of many foundations. That is the whole point of being royal, but Meghan wanted to come in and represent Meghan. That was the problem. Meghan represents herself and is obsessed with her own voice, which would never ever mesh with the royal family. Her Majesty the Queen, in my opinion, was the greatest example of a feminist icon, but she never made it about herself. She was the longest ruling monarch for 70 years, and I think she was a fabulous queen. And you can be a powerful person without projecting your power to people. I think she did a wonderful job of understanding that her role as queen was to support the people and not herself and her own self-interests. It was a privilege for her to serve her life for her country. But Meghan, it is a duty, and she better get compensated for it. So there's two different people. So the fact that she did a show on how to be a good partner and a good mother, it's like, Meghan, are you taking notes? Because you're failing. You don't look like a good partner to me. And I don't know about how you are as a mother, but what I've seen publicly, you need some help. Maybe you can go to Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and get some tips on how to be a good partner, a good wife, and a good mother. Because quite frankly, sweetheart, she's not fitting into the mold. She is making the mold. So that's all I got to say about it. What do you guys think of Meghan's take on how to be the good wife and the good partner and the good mom? Do you agree with her analogy about getting her voice? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much to all of you who have gone over to my new channel and subscribed. And if you don't know, I have a brand new YouTube channel. It's called Royal Daily Tea, History, and Fashion. We are going to have a lot of fun over there, guys. There's going to be a lot of fun things coming up. So if you'd be so kind as to go over and help me get to 1,000 subscribers, I would greatly appreciate it. And you guys, we are nearing 20,000 subscribers. So my goal is by the end of the year to reach 20,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, please hit that notification bell and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.